Hey guys, today is the first day of MagicCon Chicago, and I'm sure you've been keeping up with all the spoilers and everything. So I won't really go over all of that here. You can definitely go look it up all over the internet. I just wanted to touch upon some of the things that I thought were cool about some of the stuff that's spoiled. Um, some interesting things about Final Fantasy pre-ordering and all of that stuff and the scalping. And then finally, just my thoughts on the financial impacts of all of this hype and all of this product that Wizards of the Coast keeps pumping out so fast. So first, um, I wanted to take a look at just briefly, some of the stuff I thought that was interesting in the new sets coming out. Now, this is the new Mox that's going to be coming out in the very next set, Tarkir Dragonstorm. Now, remember, this set comes out before Final Fantasy. I think it releases early April or mid April. So it's coming out in less than 2 months. This is definitely going to be the chase card. Everyone's really hyped up on it. Everyone loves Moxes. So I mean, it's going to be really cool. Just another hype, right? At this point, I feel like we're all numb to all the hype now. It's been hype overload from Wizards of the Coast. Another thing that was announced is Avatar. Avatar set. This is going to be uh, that this was the unannounced Universes Beyond. That's going to come out at the end of the year. I think it's going to come out around November of this year. So we'll have Spider Man, and then we will have Avatar after that. Um, Seems pretty cool. I mean, the art looks great. The art just looks like the anime. I think that part is really cool. It does not look anything like Magic the Gathering art. So, I'm not a huge Avatar fan. I know it's a very popular IP. But I would, I hope the best for the product and the set, and I hope that those of you who are Avatar fans will really enjoy this. I think it's nice that it does look like anime, but the one thing that comes to my mind is like it kind of, if all the cards just look like Avatar anime, it doesn't really feel like you're playing Magic the Gathering anymore. It kind of seems like it's gonna feel like we're gonna be playing Avatar, the trading card game, right? And it's gonna be kind of weird because with at least with Lord of the Rings, it felt like Magic in a way, and same with Dungeons and Dragons, right? It felt like Magic because of the fantasy aspect. It shared a lot of similarities with dragons and kind of that medieval aesthetic. So this is really going to be the first time we will have a standard set and draft experience, limited experience that's completely removed from that that style of fantasy aesthetic that Magic typically has. I know we've had some weird sets like the Cowboy OTJ Outlaws of Thunder Junction, the Cowboy set, and then the Murderers of Karlov Manor detective set, but this is really different. So I'm interested to see how that's going to be. And I'm really also interested to see what the reception from the player base is going to be like. Let me know what you think if about this stuff and the art. I think it's going to be pretty split. So we'll really see. They had a Hasbro had their uh, earnings call yesterday or today, and just if you haven't heard, the CEO said that they believe that the Final Fantasy set is going to do better than the Lord of the Rings set. So it's just gonna be ultra hype. I mean, they talked about how the pre-orders sold out really quickly, and it was interesting because this earnings call was only like a day or two after the pre-orders and the announcement came out. So they're really monitoring that stuff, and they know they're really on top of it. So they're definitely on top of what the pre-orders are like. And so and back to the Final Fantasy pre-ordering fiasco, and the set is again just more indications that this set is ultra demand, through the roof demand. Check this one out. This person on Reddit said that they ordered some Final Fantasy collector boosters on Amazon, and Amazon sent them, said that due to high demand, they're limiting all orders of the following items to 6 per customer. So Amazon apparently is saying you can only, like, it's 6 per customer Final Fantasy collector boosters. This is not booster boxes. These are just boosters. There's 12 boosters in the box, I believe. So that just shows you the immense demand for this is what it seems like. And another thing, another parallel I've found regarding the Final Fantasy set that shares with Pokemon, and I made a video about how I think it's gonna be a situation kind of like Pokemon, or at least Pokemon Prismatic Evolutions, where you can't find the product for the life of you, even if you wanted to, because there's gonna be people camping out outside of whatever store, Walmart, Target, GameStop, like those kind of stores, and scouring the internet for any quote unquote deals. But really, what that means is they're just gonna snatch up every product that's, you know, near or at MSRP. And the only way, like, for regular people to purchase this stuff, it's gonna be, you're gonna end up paying at least double MSRP. And in Final Fantasy case, you're looking at 800 to 1,000 for double MSRP. So this is gonna be crazy. So limiting to 6 collector packs per customer on Amazon, which is wild because pre-orders just started like a day or two ago. And then one more thing, this is something that on the Pokemon subreddit they're always talking about. Is basically people are just saying like, "Oh, it's back in stock," and then in a minute or two after the announcement that it's in stock, it'll be like sold out. So the hype is real. Lastly, I just wanted to end this video with my thoughts on the release calendar for this year and just the foreseeable future with Magic the Gathering. Is just that it's really intense how fast these products are coming out. Okay, and so these are just the standard sets. These are not even any secret layer products, right? And don't forget, they have already announced they're going to release a Final Fantasy Holiday Collector's Edition or something like that, kind of like what they did with Lord of the Rings. And if you look at this, look, Aether Drift came out on February 14th. Less than 2 months later, we have Tarkir Dragonstorm. About exactly 2 months after that, we have Final Fantasy. And in a month and a half after Final Fantasy comes out, you have Edge of Eternity. I don't know. I don't think they announced Spider-Man or whatever, but I think they mentioned that the Avatar set, which is this unannounced one at the very end, I think it was coming out in November, like maybe mid to late November. That's gonna put Spider-Man. I bet you Spider-Man's gonna come out in like mid to late September. So it's 2 months, 2 months, 2 months, and then we're probably gonna look at 1.5 months between each set. Something wild like that. And what I think what that does is it makes the demand for each of the products fade so quickly. Because what happened is, remember, in January of this year, Innistrad Remastered was released. And there was a lot of hype around that set, but that was so short-lived because a month later, Aether Drift was released. And when Aether Drift was first released, there was a lot of hype too, right? People like the box topper and whatnot. Well, a couple of days ago, we had the Final Fantasy spoilers come out. And don't forget, and today's the 21st. So Aether Drift came out, or Aether Drift was officially released just 7 days ago, just a week ago. Right, from the 14th, and today's the 21st. So it was last Friday, and then 1 week before that was a pre-release. So if you count the pre-release, then Aether Drift's been out for 2 weeks. And it's already dead, like in terms of the hype, right? We've already moved on to Final Fantasy. But wait, just 2 or 3 days after Final Fantasy was announced, here comes another storm of hype, right? We have Tarkir Dragonstorm, and then they're bombarding us with Edge of Eternities already today. They haven't said anything about Spider-Man yet, to my knowledge, but then we get Avatar. And if you look at the price of the products of Innistrad and Aether so when there was a lot of hype when it first came out, the prices were shooting up, shooting up. Then they just started to crash really, really hard. And go take a look at TCG Player. I made a video about Innistrad crashing, and that was a couple of weeks ago, and it's crashed. It's gone down even more since then. And Aether keeps going down as well. So, I mean, look, maybe Aether because it's a racing set. I get it. I don't really like the racing theme, but the set is pretty fun to draft. It's okay to, the drafting experience is not bad. So far it doesn't seem like a lot of the cards have much of an impact on the standard meta or even modern the competitive meta scene, other than maybe Ketramos, right? And which is why that card is about $50+ right now. And we'll have to see if that changes. But even if it does change in 6 weeks or so, Tarkir Dragonstorm is coming out and everything changes again. And then again and again and again. So as the hype train continues to pile on and move on, and the next set is revealed and the next, and everyone's looking forward to the next thing, everybody just forgets about the last product, and the demand for the product just diminishes, it disappears. And what effect that has on the value of the sealed products is, with low demand, with the demand diminishing, and the supply seems to be quite high. I wouldn't say it's incredibly high or anything, but it's not low. So there's a decent amount of supply, and demand spikes right at release or right before release, and then it just immediately plummets 2 weeks or even 1 to 2 weeks after release, because the next set's coming out in 4 to 6 weeks after that. When the players and the collectors or anybody don't really have much time to enjoy the product, in the short term at least. So I think that we don't know how this is all going to play out in the long term. And what I mean by long term is like 2 to 3 years plus. Within this year and maybe a little bit into next year, I think, other than Final Fantasy, okay, because Final Fantasy is just going to be uh, it's going to be an outlier, and I think Final Fantasy is going to be just a massive, massive success. Although, again, they could print so much that it isn't, right. But I don't know about that. I think Final Fantasy is just going to be really ridiculous. But other than Final Fantasy, it seems like the other sets, they're just not going to really, the products, the value of the sealed products, and the value of almost all the cards except some of the chase cards, right? Like Ketramos and Aether, and this, in Tarkir Dragonstorm, it's probably going to be that Mox, the new Mox, and whatever 1, 2 chase cards they put. Only those chase cards are going to hold any real value, and they have to be good enough, and there have to be enough of them to prop up and hold up the value of the sealed products. Without that, they're just going to crash. Now, the collector boosters and products, I think there's certainly a lot of there's certainly potential in the longer run, but we really have to see. I think it's going to take a couple of years, which is totally okay. But don't expect anything crazy. And I hope that in Tarkir Dragonstorm, there's going to be fetch lands, because if they do print fetch lands, that will really shake things up in terms of value. But if they don't, and we're probably just all going to look for that Mox Opal and maybe a dragon or two. All right, thanks for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are on the product release cycle,